already knowing that Cardi B is one of God's favorite. Because every bitch she beefing with right now is currently getting humbled. I'm talking about JT and Nicki Minaj. JT went to the Alabama A&M homecoming. She took her ass on that motherfucking stage and thought it was going to be a good ass show. And everybody walked the fuck out. As they should. Because bitch about Cardi is that. And Nicki Minaj got a whole lawsuit that's been going on that she tried to run from and escape from, but because she has not replied to the lawsuit and just completely ignored the lawsuit, it's causing her to lose her home, her $20 million home. The lawsuit went from $500,000, now it's up $13 million. That's how much they're asking for, $13 million. When you could have just replied to the lawsuit, you decide to try to escape the lawsuit, ignore it, and thinking that everything's going to be okay. They was going to disregard it because you're Nicki Minaj. No, ma'am. Them folks don't give a fuck about none of that. And it's crazy because that man is the reason why she has that lawsuit. He decided that he was going to punch her ex-security guard in his jaw, and he broke his jaw. He took their ass to court, and they've been ducking and dodging ever since. And I don't feel bad for her. Cardi might tell you a joke, but she's not going to tell you a lie. Give that house up. She was ducking high and low, her and Kenneth Petty, so they took it to the news, and they put in a news article. She still ain't showed up. So now they want that house. And that's what she did. Talking about people's kids, you keep trying to provoke a motherfucker that's not even fucking with you. That's what you get. I don't feel bad at all, and fuck the Barbs.
Isn't it interesting how Nicki Minaj also knows Cardi B's songs? That means that she's been listening to that album and that she herself can literally admit that that's a good ass album. Especially for the fact that we live in a generation where people make music and it burns out, especially rap. People don't make good albums anymore. Like, people don't invest in good albums anymore. Like, people make singles and they crash out. Like, as Beyonce said, like, they don't invest in a good art of music. They don't invest in making albums anymore. People focus on quick singles and they burn out, and they focus on another quick single and it burns out, but they don't really focus on literally the art and the craft of an album, literally putting stuff together, and from your own work, like from putting a sound together, not just lyrically, but also the sound. Not just sampling music, because people just sample upon sampling. Yeah, like, it's not like having this, people are not even having that creativity anymore. Like, it's like the producers are in themselves as well. So when we see people like JT, like, people just want to get in for the quick money. Like, if we're gonna put in money into something, like, we need to see the artists going out there showing us why we should invest in their music, why we should invest in their art. It's not just enough to just say, I'm a celebrity and I can do that. That is why JT is in a position that she is. That is why Nicki Minaj is also in the situation that she is, because she's just focusing on her bobs and not just expanding outside the bobs. you know the problem started with Nicki Minaj weaponizing her bobs to literally fight her battles for her, you know? And I think there's only so much that Bobs can carry up to this point, like, literally. There's literally so much that Bobs can carry, and it won't be that much. So we won't focus that much on JT, but we will add some videos about Nicki Minaj, right? Nicki Minaj, because I don't think JT is even more relevant to even be discussed at this point. So let's just focus on Nicki Minaj.
Now, mind you, 2 weeks ago, Cardi said somebody was charging up your Amex card. Turns out she was right. Now, let me take y'all back about 2 weeks ago when the girls was tussling and Cardi B had made mention to Nicki Minaj's Amex card. That's K Michelle. We're gonna get to that story next. Now, about 2 weeks ago, Cardi B said in her exchange with Nicki Minaj on the internet, quiet as kept, the truth is you've been diagnosed, allegedly, with schizophrenia, allegedly, and bipolar disorder, allegedly, for almost 9 years, and you're heavy on that and the other list of pharmaceuticals. She goes on to say that you don't listen to nobody around you, and the only person that have power is Kenneth Petty, but you know what happens with that Amex when you're sedated. Now, in the second tweet where she makes mention about Nicki Minaj's Amex card, which is still on her page, she says, your husband is not stopping you from your actions because he lets you do all day to numb you so he can max out your credit cards. Yeah, you think I don't know? Question mark. Then she goes on to say, them queen ninjas. from Queens, New York, if you don't know, that you be letting in your house every time you kick them out be coming and spilling your tea in the hood. Now, fast forward to today, right? 2 weeks later, Nicki Minaj posts this in her story and says that 3 people in the span of 2 months have been charging my Amex card without permission. Sounds like somebody was spilling her tea and she had to go look, which you should. You should always look at your credit card statements. Now, she goes on to say that a couple of them have been doing it for years, filed the first report a couple of weeks ago. They're all going to jail. Now, Tasha K had posted that Nicki Minaj did file a police report against somebody by the name of DeAndre Tristan, who happened to be her stylist. Now, if you don't know DeAndre Tristan, they're a 3-time Emmy Award winning stylist, and they were Nicki Minaj's personal stylist. For how many years? I don't know, but I've seen this person on a barrage of posts from Nicki Minaj and their self over the years. So I assumed that DeAndre Tristan had been working with Nicki Minaj for a considerate amount of years. Now, Nicki goes on to say that the fourth person has been stealing from the Barbs. Oh, ish. She says, sitting here smelling like Pink Friday 2 fragrance and nothing like a hot shower to put everything into perspective. Now, this is the last post that she had made before we get to the transactions she had posted. She said one of the credit card thieves has also been tracking my moves with a tracking device that led right to his own cell phone number. So whoever this he is, she goes on to say, you can't make this ish up, laughing my butt off. Won't God do it? Yes, he will. And then Nicki proceeds to show us these transactions, which looks like they were from her Apple Pay card, her Apple Pay account. This one here that seems like it repeated. And then another one here. So these are sizable portions that were charged on her credit card. Now, other people in the comment sections across social media thought that she was going to be charging Arrogant Tate, her ex-hairstylist. Somebody in the comments said, I feel like she's lying and she's going to say one of the people is Tay, being Arrogant Tate. The transactions she posted are from her Apple Pay wallet, which everybody saw, and it won't show up on your phone unless your phone was tapped. Now, over on Arrogant Tay's Instagram post, he said, nobody's more delusional than the internet. The way everybody makes up these stories and lies is sick. Now, this is stemmed from people saying that he and Nicki Minaj had unfollowed each other after he was seen at this event with Ice Spice, who she had now fallen out with. All I'm going to say is don't say nothing crazy about Cardi B before your ops start sending her your tea.
So Nicki Minaj is claiming that someone has been using her Amex without her permission. Specifically, she stated that a stylist that she was working with has been using her Amex without her permission. Now, there are a few things about this story that I just think sound stupid. For one, I think that the drugs have really fucked her up, because why would you come to the internet and confirm everything your op said about you in an argument? Like Cardi said in that argument that people keep you drugged up to use your Amex card, and you 2 weeks later come onto the internet and tell us unprovoked that someone has been using your Amex card without your permission. Why would you tell us that? Why would you give your op the satisfaction of knowing that she was right? Now that you done confirmed this, I am inclined to believe that Cardi B absolutely has your tea. Everything she said about you in that argument is true at this point. Furthermore, if you look at the transactions that she posted, those look like Apple Pay transactions. Like, those look like the transactions that show up in your Apple Wallet after you use a card that is linked to your Apple Wallet. So unless the stylist that she is accusing of using her Amex has access to her personal device, her phone, that is the only way that would be true. Now, I don't know if the transactions are from her phone or from the stylist's phone, but even if it was from the stylist's phone and he linked that Amex to his Apple Wallet, it is an American Express. He has to be listed as a fucking authorized user to use that American Express. So if neither one of those things is true, I fear the only prime suspect there is would be your fucking husband, because I'm sure he has access to your Amex. I'm sure he is listed as a fucking authorized user. Like, none of this fucking story makes sense to me. If anything, it just proves that Cardi B is always right. Cardi B is always fucking right. Also, to find out that she is suing this stylist for what, $20,000 max? She's suing the stylist for $20,000, but has yet to sue Roc Nation for the $2 million, $20 million that they owe her. I find that quite ironic.
Cardi B called it. She said that Kenneth Petty was Nicki Minaj's downfall. This is how you turn a $503,000 lawsuit into a $20 million seize on your home, all because of your baby daddy, all because of your husband. So essentially, Kenneth Petty, back in 2019, Nicki Minaj had a concert, and the security did not prevent one of the fans jumping on stage next to Nicki Minaj. They broke the barrier, got next to her. Nicki Minaj goes off on one of the female security guards, and then one of the male security guards goes to break up the whole fight. So from there, Nicki Minaj goes to her dressing room, and she calls the male security guard who got in between her and the female security guard and calls him to her room. When he got there, Kenneth Petty was standing there with Nicki Minaj and 2 other security guards. And that's when Nicki Minaj went off on him. And then Kenneth Petty swung at him and broke his jaw. He then left out of her dressing room from there and went to the emergency room. And he ultimately decided to sue Nicki Minaj, and he won a $503,000 lawsuit. Now, his attorney said that Nicki Minaj has been like refusing to see, both sides and to come to a conclusion, to agreement with the lawsuit. So since it's been so long since he's won the lawsuit and she has not paid, they're going for the jugular. They're going to seize her home. They say her home has enough equity to cover his mortgage, to cover his, doctor's bills, attorney fees, and all of that stuff. Now, even though that's not the first place they could have went, they could have gone every other avenue before going after her home. But in the state of California, they don't have to. They can just go for her home, basically. But Cardi B even said it. She was like, Nicki Minaj's downfall is her husband. Like, he is her bad karma. And if you don't know, their karmic debt is real. And as long as she keeps this man around, she's going to stay owing debt to karma. She's going to stay in karmic debt.